Let's continue, shall we? And we ended off... Why was that amusing that loading that save just triggered the microwave noise? I don't know why I found that so amusing. But, okay. Oliver's back for round 2. What have we learned since in the past video? Valerie knew Emilia, but not nearly to the level that we assumed. She used a calculated bluff with Oliver to see if Oliver can be trusted. Let's see. Sorry. Oh, there we go. Okay. We know that Evelyn has a twin sister named Elizabeth. They both worked for Neuralink. And one or both of them are androids. That's my reckless speculation. Adrian still needs to start talking about his relationship with Emilia. Emilia, of course, if you're new to this series, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? This is part 3. If you're new to this series, the goal of this game is to figure out who the titular figure Emilia is. We have 2 answer teams of 3 people on either side of this facility. We have the question team of 3 people. The question team sends 1 person over to each respective answer team every 90 minutes to talk and share information. The question team member sort of feeds information back and forth from the answer team to Emilia, and we see how things develop from there. There's a neutral observer named Noel who is listening and will decide when one of these answer team has arrived at the answer with Emilia. And once that decision has been made, the answer team, their question team member and Emilia will leave. Adrian was a part of some past incident with Emilia that he regrets dearly. Emilia went missing 2 years ago. Adrian feels guilt about that. Adrian has had an encounter. Like, it's implied that there's a name, Sophie, that he brought up, which is either a current partner, family member, someone he's had a close relation with, a family member of Emilia's, who he has specifically not told about everything with Emilia. We still only know vagaries about everything with Emilia. So, all about seeing what we can get to nudge Adrian further out of his shell. Oliver came back, said that Emilia found a picture of a guy. Her and a guy who she recognized. Oh, he probably looked at the log for that. Let's see. Photo inside of one of her and some guy she didn't recognize. She found it briefly, put it back in the file cabinet. The file cabinet locked itself. So, there's a very distinct possibility that Adrian's past with Emilia will come out one way or another. Anyways, calm before the storm. Oliver's reheating some of our leftover fried rice. Last break before we find out what Oliver had to say. And through that, whether Valerie is going to share what she knows. And hey, even if I don't reveal anything myself, I can at least help when it comes to putting the pieces together, right? It's the least I can do, is what I tell myself. But he knows that putting the pieces together is only going to bring more questions about what he knows, and he's not necessarily comfortable with that, so he's not going to do it. I just don't want to bear the guilt of being selfish, huh? I don't want them to think of me as useless. That's what all this is about. I don't truly care about what happens to them, do I? Are they talking? Oliver places an empty glass in front of me. Huh? Oh. Should I thank her? Should I thank him? Let's see. Ramadan, likewise down. Oh yeah, looks like Noel didn't spare any expense when it comes to drinks either. Got us some water. Carbonated water. Very easy. I'm gonna grab a glass. Anyone else want some? Oh, that would be quite kind. Sure. Adrian too, while you're at it. If you say so. Here, you go. Huh? Oh. Fuck it. Thanks. Oliver smiles in turn, beginning to pour us water one by one. At least I assumed that was the intention. With how much he spilled, he might as well have wanted water at the table, though. Didn't take him to be the clumsy type. Damn, you blind or something? Ah, shit. I guess my eyes really aren't what they used to be. Oh, it's something to... you just said I'll take care of it. It's a drawer, take out a rag to wipe the table with. Swiftly soaking up the water while we hold up our glasses. Evelyn sighs. Microwave beeps. Just in time. Alright, takes out his warmed-up meal and finally sits down as well, beginning to eat. Oh boy, this is just what I needed. Good stuff. Seems he was right. This really did brighten his mood, huh? Though, I'm not sure how much the food had to do with it. The air has grown much less tense. The strangers feel a lot less strange. So, alright. He swallows. I guess I should get this out of the way. Takes another bite, carefully considering how to phrase what he's about to say. Thing is, I know this sounds like a total cop-out, but, memory's still gone, mostly. Really, I can't answer your question, unless you want me to guess. Nah, it's fine. Let's be real. I never had a good reason to stay quiet to begin with, so it's whatever. What she is actually trying to say is, that was the correct answer. Huh? What do you mean? Oh, well, it doesn't really matter. We'll get into that. Well, now just, eat up and tell us what you found out. Seems unusually flustered. Still postponing it, huh? Valerie and Adrian really are more alike than they want to admit. To be fair, I don't really care right now. I'm equally curious to hear what Oliver has to bring to the table. You mentioned that her memory is mostly still gone, right? Implying that... yeah, of course. I was still going to talk about that, don't worry. Oh yeah, she did remember some things. Well, more accurately, someone. My heart stops for what feels like almost a year. All the blood in my body rushes straight to my head. Just waiting for Oliver to turn toward me and continue with, Adrian, is there anything you want to tell us? I shake my head. He didn't say that. He didn't even turn towards me. Instead, someone from the other answer team, then? I asked before my mind even had a chance to catch up. Why? Right. Just like Valerie over there, someone on their side knew about Emilia as well. Maybe because I feel like I already know who that person is. But she wasn't quite as secretive about how they know each other. Because while I tried not to think about it, I felt like it would only make sense for her to be here as well. Well, this is the Sophie we're thinking of, isn't it? Apparently, she's her girlfriend. Named Sophie. This changes everything. And nothing. And everything. And nothing. And... Can't believe how worried I was about killing these glorified strangers by not cooperating with them. So what? Does that make me a bad person? It's not like I'm the one who's killing them, like I'm responsible for trapping them in here. No, much worse, if I did help them and if my input helped us win, then I would actively kill the people on the opposing team. It's no different from a basic trolley problem. Doing nothing might kill 4 people, but doing something might kill 4 other people instead. But those other people is Sophie. So it's not as simple as 4 equals 4. It's 3 plus A equals 3 plus S. To simplify it is A equals S, but are A and S truly equal? That's a question I need to consider. Which of our lives has more value? Looking around, Oliver seems to be deep in thought, wondering how to proceed. cruel reunion this is. Sure is. Did you know her as well? Huh? Me? No. Just thinking about how much of a head start they've got with someone like that on their team. Guess I can't deny that. So, go on then. That's not all, is it? No. Sophie had something else to share. Something that might actually be even more interesting than her knowing Emilia. She remembered what happened before she ended up here quite well, unlike the rest of us. Huh? But how could that be? Did Noel make a mistake? Can we really believe that? You're sure she's not just making that up for some reason? But why would she do that? I don't know. To make us fuck up, maybe? Throw in some red herrings here and there about to keep us from winning this? I get where you're coming from, but in all honesty, the more Nathan told us about her version of events, the clearer my memory became as well. And that's so. In that case, it might help us remember the same way. I'm not so sure about that, because, well, it's worth a try, I suppose. He pauses for a moment, furrowing his brows before he starts his retelling of what Nathan told him about what Sophie had remembered. Straight from the source. He said it was the 20th of August, same as the last day I remembered. He already told me that much, so then, just like me, she made her way to the Neuralink Center in 8-3. Like I said, I planned to finally get my implant. She went there for a completely different reason. She was on her way to meet up with Emilia's father, Professor Jacob Neiman. That's the place he worked at. Nathan confirmed as much. Her father? But why? Did she go alone? Valerie looks confused in response to my question, which did admittedly come out of nowhere. Well, actually, Nathan did mention that she vaguely remembered someone being with her, but the details have escaped her mind for now. I see. I couldn't yet remember why they planned to meet in the first place either. I guess it's pretty likely that it's related to Emilia somehow, huh? It has to be. So her father really is Professor Neiman, huh? I did not expect this to be related to him. Huh? You know the guy? Well, that might be an overstatement. I have already mentioned it while you weren't here, but I work for Neuralink. I doubt there's anyone working in this field who has never heard of him before. I have never personally met him, though, however. Whenever I happened to be stationed at his center, he had stayed locked up in his laboratory all day. But I've heard that's been hardly uncommon for him these past few years. Yeah, we never managed to get a hold of him. Ever since Emilia disappeared, he simply shut himself off from the outside world. From everything Emilia told me, it's not like he left his lab particularly open before then either. Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. Alright, so what's next? Well, he sat down in a waiting room with a bunch of other folks. One of them's on her team, recognized him right away. Eric's his name. Doesn't seem to know anything about any of this either. I wonder, is he hiding something too, just like me? Apart from that, there were some other people in the room, but she wasn't able to recall any particulars about them. Guess those must have been the rest of us, huh? Guess so. I have no idea why I would have been there. There's one more person she recognized, or, well, kinda. When she first broke up, she was strangely sure about having already seen the third member of her team as well. However, it turned out to be nothing more than a mix-up. What a crazy coincidence if it wasn't, too. Because she was very sure about that person's name being Evelyn. Oh, I get it. Oh, goodness. Is that person's actual name by any chance Elizabeth? He nods. Guess we're right on the money then. We had already assumed as much, given discussing it over in the QT. You two are twins, huh? She nods. Well, they've split up Evelyn and Elizabeth. Adrian's counterpart Sophie is on the other team, so we have Eric. Hopefully not Zero Time Dilemma, Eric. Eric and Valerie. I nod. To myself, for no particular reason. That Noel really is a cruel bastard. Evelyn's situation isn't all that different from my own. Can't save ourselves without sacrificing someone close to us. Right, so what's next? We were there. Now we're here. What happened? Well, that's the part of both of us remembered rather clearly, though. In all honesty, it's not all that spectacular. The lights turned off. White smoke filled the waiting room. We all started dripping to the floor, one after another. That's all. Didn't even get to see any of those responsible for it. Not that it'd help us. Not sure what I expected. Guess it's the simplest method for knocking out a group of people, without getting your hands dirty, too. But, yeah, sorry, doesn't jog my memory. That. Yes, it's the same way for me, I'm sorry to admit. Wonder why she was able to recall so much. I got my theory. There's one thing the two of them have in common. Wonder why I haven't thought of this sooner. And you really remembered stuff after hearing her story, huh? Yes. Though it's still much more of a haze than it seems to be for that girl. Guess age simply catching up with me. Oh yeah, sure, because we're so old, right? Come on, who are you kidding? No, sorry. I wasn't really considering any of you. There was something else I forgot to mention. One trait that the girl and I share, which is why we probably remember more than y'all. No implants. Any idea what it could be? An awkward silence fills the room, and everyone just waits for him to continue. Come on, but he doesn't. Then he looks around at our faces, waiting for someone to speak up. But nobody does. Like in a seminar that no one actually wanted to attend. Oh no, he's doing the old teacher. The old teacher humor that no one in the class actually responds to. Oh no. You really want someone to guess that badly, huh? Alright, I'll bite. Does she maybe not have a Neuralink either? Exactly! Wow, how did I guess? Well, keep in mind that I don't know whether that's the actual reason. The two of us being the only ones without one here, clearly remembering at least some of the things that happened right before this. It's a fair assumption to make, isn't it? If that is true, that's scary about the effects that the Neuralink, the extent to which the Neuralink makes you vulnerable to having your memory compromised. Yeah, I guess that checks out. Especially since we already knew he clearly tampered with our implants, deleting our log and all. Huh. Is that something you can just do? Delete someone's memories via Neuralink? Not under normal circumstances, at least. Not very reassuring. And under normal circumstances, let's just say it isn't impossible. Isn't something that can be done without very specific pieces of equipment that only Neuralink centers should have access to. Funnily enough, look where we were. Precisely where this all started, huh? Seems to fit the bill, if you ask me. Let's not forget what this place is either. Not out of the question for something like that to still be around here, huh? This place is a very specific, test site. Might both be right about that, but then the matter of qualification arises. It's not like most people would know how to use this kind of technology, you see. Duh. I mean, wasn't a secret that Noel knew more than your average Joe about this stuff. You want to tell me that anyone could have just went and deleted my log whenever they felt like it? No, of course not. Are you sure Noel himself was actually responsible for that, though? He managed to infiltrate that center and all, kidnapping a bunch of people. How could he be sure that he doesn't hold some scientists at gunpoint, forcing them to do this stuff? Yes, that sounds like something a person like him could accomplish. Oliver gets up from his chair, picking up his long empty plate to put it away. By the way, that's all the relevant stuff I can share with you for now. At least as far as I remember, I can't just check my log, you know? Don't worry, that was plenty. How unusually kind of her. I was glad neither of them has mentioned me. I'm not sure how I could have talked my way out of that one. Not that it can't still end up happening. That's a problem for future me. I'll figure out a good excuse by then. A short pause, through which nothing but the clattering of dishes remained to be heard. Valerie finally sighs and gets up as well. Guess it's my turn now, isn't it? Wanna head back to the living room? You sure? Really trust me enough now, despite not really fulfilling your request at all? Evelyn already told you, didn't she? That was the right answer. Didn't expect her to know who I am. You were spot on. I thought it was weird when she first said it, but now that I know for sure that Emilia didn't show any reaction toward hearing my name, I guess it would be a stretch to say I can't relate. Okay, well, I guess we'll get into that, but wanna head to the living room again? Sure, let's do that. And we do just that. Everyone sits down and Valerie gathers her thoughts. With anticipation filling the air, she speaks up. Before I ever spoke to Emilia, I actually met her parents. Well, Man, it's not really the right word. It's that I can't really saw them, or perceive them at least. It's like all the other people you meet on a daily basis, just walking down the street or sitting in a restaurant. See them being here. You don't attach any particular meaning to them being there. Wouldn't remember who those people were or what they looked like. That's what it was like. Just that, despite not having interacted with them in any way, I clearly remember the fact that they were there. That parking lot. Some small town outside the zones. That's because I know that we, my mother and I, were walking past their car, just as they were getting in, and it blew up. Oh, that's what this is about. She was involved in all that? It blew up. Stuff like that happens outside the zones. Not that that's nearly as common as some like to claim, but yeah. I guess stuff like that does happen. Clearly did. There were a bunch of rumors and theories flying around. Some suspect it was an assassination attempt at her father or something. Personally, I don't really give a shit. The only thing I care about is the fact that I was hospitalized for months afterwards. Staying so close to the explosion, my body was a mess. Oh shit. Been through more surgeries than I can count. Large portions of my body were replaced by artificial limbs. Oh shit. It must have been an expensive procedure, eh? Like the corpse bad at night, stuff like that happened outside their precious zones. True. I guess I shouldn't complain. Truth is, my father could have never afforded it. Emilia's father paid for the whole thing, clearly feeling responsible for what happened. Was getting some kid killed. Put that on the back of their mind. That's big of him. I'm glad it ended up so well. Medical science has come a long way, hasn't it? You can say that again. I never even noticed she'd had any surgery to begin with, much less that any of her limbs were artificial. Well, yeah, it's nothing anyone would notice. Even I don't notice any difference between my real and fake parts, where they move and feel is pretty much identical. Just wish I didn't have to get a Neuralink to use them. Shit, then all their talk about the back way of procedures to get the Neuralink removed. But it's even worse for her because she literally can't, or else she permanently disabled. She sighs. I see. I'm sure you couldn't care less about all this. It's whatever. Point is, I was spending a lot of time lying around. My father barely ever took time out of his busy schedule to visit me. Someone else did. Emilia. Oh. Both her parents were heavily injured, especially her mother. She ended up in an even more severe condition than I did. So Emilia came by to visit. Came to visit her pretty regularly. At some point, she started stopping by my room as well. I was barely 7 years old. Just started going to school. She was already 12, practically an adult to me. Adult who actually listened to me, or believed, understood how I felt, at least somewhat. She was the only piece of hope I had. I never knew whether I could survive another day. Whether I even wanted to, how much my body was being torn apart. Went all shit with Theseus on her. All the doctors always tried to calm me down, but never trusted anything they said. It should be the same empty words of consolation, wanted to make me shut up. When Emilia told me that everything would be okay, I believed her right away. That I was more than my body. That's just really all it took. Dumb, isn't it? That's what I believe. That's what I believe saved me. That's why I never forgot about her. God, that's really sweet. And sad, but really sweet. Valerie's still managing to keep a straight face, but definitely feels as though she could burst into tears at any moment. Real shit. At least, that's how I see it. She stays quiet for a moment, regaining her composure. I'm terribly sorry to hear all that. I can only imagine how... Yeah, can we please just skip that? Go straight to what you want to ask. Of course. Sorry. In all honesty, I don't quite understand why you expected that she wouldn't remember you. Maybe you didn't have quite as much of an impact on her life as she did on yours, but she still took the time to visit you during such a formative part of your youth. I would argue that it wouldn't have been strange for her to remember something like that at all. True. Wouldn't have been. Honestly, she might still remember if you asked her about what I just told you. That was never my point. My point was that she wouldn't recognize my name. Because she simply doesn't know that my name is Valerie. You never told her your name? Wait, wouldn't she have known it? Wouldn't she have had to know it in order to find the room you were staying? Let's leave it at that. Whatever she might remember about that time, she wouldn't have remembered this after being told about someone called Valerie. Interesting. I don't think we have enough evidence to speculate, even recklessly, about why that might be. Could be as simple as actively trying to track down the girl in question. Her parents are well known. If she asked, they would probably tell her, and probably let her go see Valerie. Well, as you can see, I was right about that much. Oh, can't deny that. Nobody says anything for a while. Is that all? She really wants to pretend that this is the whole story. It just doesn't match up at all. Can't just let her leave it at that, can I? So, alright, you're still here. Thanks. Sometimes I forget that fact myself. Yeah, to get this straight, it's the only period of time in which you met with Emilia. Obviously. I mean, if we kept seeing each other, she would have probably known my name, right? So yeah. She just kept visiting me until whenever she came over to see her mother. Until she just didn't anymore. Because her mother was no longer there. Just goes to show how much I meant to her, huh? I picked her words very carefully there. I don't get the feeling that she's lying about anything in particular, but she's still definitely hiding some things. I know, because I know how this story ends. Emilia told me about it. Sophie did too. Oh. I know what happened to her mother, and she has to know it too. That's not the only thing she has to know. There's more that she's trying to keep secret for some reason. I wonder why. I need to keep digging. Don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming her for that. I'm not blaming anyone for anything. I don't think she's a bad person for not wanting to keep in touch with some random child in the hospital. I'm just saying that. That's why I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't end up remembering me at all. I don't even have any way to know whether she ever wanted to come and see me in the first place, or whether her father just asked her to do so, feeling guilty about what had happened to me. Thinking it's the right thing to do, not even having the courage to do so himself. So, did her mother ever visit you? At least when she got discharged. Shoots me an annoyed glance, clearly not wanting to talk about it. She can't hide anymore, unless, well, she finally wants to start lying for real. No, she didn't. She might have. She never actually got discharged. Still dancing around it, though there is no room left for interpretation. Oh, you mean... Yes. I don't even need to finish my question. Everyone knows already. Downcast faces surrounded me, and I try my best to blend in. And how envious I am of them not having to act. Was this helpful? Did I manage to reveal something about Emilia? Despite meeting her parents first, they're the ones I recall the least of. It's only Emilia who just never manages to escape my mind. Meanwhile, she just went on with her life, together with her father who survived with scars all over his body. Didn't even bother to get them removed. Reminder of what happened to his wife or whatever. Boo fucking who. Boo hoo, my wife's dead. I mean, it's not like I blame her. What happened, she was probably busy with crying her eyes out for weeks. Whatever normal children do when they lose their mother. Wait, you mean? Yes, genius, my mother also died in the explosion. Right away, before the ambulance had even arrived at the scene. Stood between me and the car, probably shielded me from the worst. Forcing out those last words, I swear I can see the glimpses of tears welling up at her eyes, though she swiftly wipes them away. Is this my fault? Well, happy now? Is that what you wanted to hear? I didn't know discussing our families was what you were here for. You're right. Sorry. A slight feeling of guilt begins to fill my chest. Rightfully so. I've been overthinking this again. It's the reason why she didn't mention what happened with Emilia's mother. Because she just didn't think it would be necessary to discuss this. Would have rather avoided digging up any more of her own painful memories. Might just be an asshole at this point. Maybe I've always been. No, she's still hiding more. I know she is. It's not irrelevant, and she knows it isn't. She still pretends to never have met Emilia again after what happened at the hospital, but that can't be true. Are they talking? Hey, now, I don't think it's fair to blame the boy for asking some questions, is it? You might not think it's relevant, but who knows? I agree with Oliver. We still aren't sure what it is we are trying to learn. Knowing more about Emilia's parents might prove integral eventually, so I get it. Her reaction to first hearing about her being here is proof of that. So there's still something I don't understand, though. Sounds like a you problem. I ignore her remark. You neither met her nor her father again, then how do you know about what happened to her mother? About her father and his scars, or why do you care so much? What did you really want to hear, huh? Come on, just say it. What's your deal? I'm not sure what you want me to say. Uh-oh. She jumps up from the sofa and lunges toward me. Whoa there, calm down. Oh, I'm calm, all right. Stretches out her arm and grabs me by the neck, holding me in place with ease. What do you want from me? Stop bullshitting me. I just want you to tell me what you know, which is clearly more than you're letting on, isn't that right? You're one to talk. Still enough energy to be smug about this, huh? Her grip tightens. And hell, that arm's mechanical, isn't it? It's just no joke. I can't breathe. Please, Valerie, stop. There's no need for this. Don't worry, I will once he talks. Still unsure how much she knows. She clearly figured something out, but I can't just lay it all bare just yet. Why are you hiding that you met Emilia after getting harder to speak? I'm not, because I didn't. We never met again. Is she really speaking the truth? No. The real question is, why are you hiding that you knew Emilia? She knows? No, this is just a bluff. But be more specific that you knew Sophie. What? How? That makes even less sense. Did she know Sophie as well? No. You see Oliver standing behind her. I can't think anymore. My consciousness fades. It's gone. I'm gone. I'm here. Oh, hello. There's a lot that just happened while we were out. Oh boy. Let go of him right this instant. Ugh. Fuck. Adrian, you alright? He appears to have lost consciousness. He shouldn't stay this way for long. It could have gotten dangerous had you not stepped in, however. I'm glad you did. God damn, what the hell were you thinking, Valerie? Nothing, really. What do you mean, nothing? Were you trying to kill the guy or something? Those artificial arms are no laughing matter. No, they wouldn't have. I would have let him down eventually. Eventually, yeah. How much more unconscious did you want him to be before that, huh? You're insane. How do you even figure he's hiding anything in the first place? There's been a bunch of little things he said that seem strange to me. Not really one thing in particular. Go on. For example, when he heard that Sophie went to the Neuralink Center to meet with Emilia's father, first thing he asked was whether she went alone. Why would he ask something like that? Probably because he thought he might have been the one to tag along. Also explains why, out of all of us, he was the one to guess that Sophie didn't have a Neuralink. Sure, that may have been a lucky guess, right? And someone barely says anything the entire time, but every single thing he does say is absolutely spot on. It makes you wonder. Everything, huh? So was he right about having you haven't seen Emilia again after being discharged then? Seems like Adrian wasn't alone, keeping some stuff hidden. Hypocrite much, eh? I wasn't... Come on now, there's no need to interrogate her like that. I'm sure she had her reasons. Yeah? Like for almost killing Adrian? I didn't... This is a difficult situation for all of us. Don't condemn her for overreacting. Damn, no need to coddle her like that. She's an adult. She can be held responsible for her own actions, you know? Of course, that doesn't mean it will help us going forward. So, Valerie, don't you want to tell us calmly whether there's anything else you know about Emilia? You said earlier that if you had kept in touch with her, it would have only been natural for her to know your name, right? I agree. Then why didn't she? Isn't as simple as Oliver is making it out to be, is it? So now I'm the bad guy, huh? It's all right. Oliver, you're right. I've still been hiding things as well. Well, obviously, out with it then. Shut up for a second, all right? Evelyn, can we talk in private? Still don't trust me after all, huh? Chill, this isn't about you. I just want to discuss some stuff before sharing it all with Adrian. Okay, so what did that have to do with me? This Neuralink is picking all this up, dipshit. You can stick with him while we leave to talk, alright? Is that so? You can check all this later? Damn. His condition is stable enough to leave him alone with this dude, right? Of course. He should wake up eventually without any further care being necessary. Alright, I'll look after him. Thank you. If anything happens, feel free to call for me. Sure thing. Let's go then. Women, am I right? Yeah. What's the deal with women? So, can you really read through everything we just said, huh? Damn. I thought I'd have to consider my words in a room with no one except some unconscious kid, but here I am. Well, just so you know, as much as Evelyn believes that Valerie surely had some kind of reason to hide some of the things she knew, I'm sure you had your reasons too. So I don't judge if you're not sharing whatever your connection to Emilia is, Sophie. But please, consider talking to us. Hell, just the two girls if you prefer that. Just don't try to solve this by yourself, alright? You do that, I promise not to let anything happen to you. Any of you. Get out of this stuff here alive, together. Damn, what a promise to make. Still, I can't believe I believe we can make this happen. That's all. I'm done. Get, conscious soon. I guess you already are once you get to read this. Alright, I'll shut up now. Here, somewhere. Room, dimly lit. A face, somewhere between no one and anyone. Empty. Opens their mouth and shapes their tongue into sounds. Sorry, what? A tall and short woman standing or sitting at the other end of the room repeats the movement of their lips, but the sound still won't reach. Sorry, what? Again. The room becomes brighter and the formless faces surrounding me turn toward me. Do they hear him talking? Nope. Classroom or lecture hall, or both, or neither. Students with ages fluctuating between 7 and 23. The man in front of me still seems to be waiting for some kind of answer to some kind of question consisting of some kind of words. Sorry, what? He repeats again. Yes, I agree, is what I settle with. Worked well enough and the room blurs into our living room I've never been to before. My parents resembling my parents sit at the other end of the table, watching me. Pick up a large pen with my regular-sized hand. Pick up the regular-sized pen with my tiny hands and begin looking at the printouts in front of me. Filled with shapes, attempting to look like letters, pretending to form words, or numbers, making up formulas, or both as I write. I write nothing as fast as I can until I'm done and look at my mother crying, my father leaving the room, and my mother silently screaming at me. Concentrate. Why can't you just focus and work and function like a normal human being? You look back at the empty pages in front of me with a regular-sized pen in my regular-sized hand. They're empty, remain empty, and I don't even remember what I was supposed to write. I look up at the wall in front of my desk. I've been sitting here for 2 weeks and still haven't written a single letter. Who the hell still writes letters anyway? I tip away from my computer and close the door behind me. When leaving the house and walk down the street toward the station to take a train to Sophie's house. There are no trains, and I can't even find the station. At some point, I just stand in front of her house. Neat. The door swings open and Sophie is there and gives me a hug and says, I am so glad you could make it. I say, yes. We walk further in and she hands me a guitar and I walk up the stairs leading to the second floor and set it down on the chair, and the room becomes brighter and the formless face surrounds me, surrounding me turns toward me. A stage in a bar, or at a festival, or both or neither, and guests with ages fluctuating between 23. For some reason I expect something to happen. I remember how I sat at my desk for 2 weeks without coming up with a single line to sing because I'm a failure as a lyricist, almost as much as I'm a failure as a musician, almost as much as I'm a failure as a student, almost as much as I'm a failure as a son. I don't bear the silence any longer. My hands begin to move toward random strings from a chorus I never knew. I began to play it, and I sing. Voice echoes through the room, the grace befitting of someone that is not me, and I feel pain welling up inside my chest because I realize that. A hand grabs me from behind and pulls me behind the curtains and looks straight at me. Not the head. The person that the hand belongs to. The prettiest person Sophie has ever seen, and she will ever see. She opens her mouth and shapes her tongue into sounds. Sorry, what? She repeats. Sorry, what? Again. Yes, I agree. That's what I settled with. Worked well enough that she pushes me down on the sofa at her smooth angelic skin meets with my rough, disgusting body, and she sits down on me, glad to finally be of use to someone. Oh dear. I can't talk, and I can't write, and I can't listen, and I can't sing, and I can't focus, and I can't be interesting, or play guitar, or talk, and I can exist and be a body, and that's all I ever wanted. I lay here and look over at the guitar that's still standing in the corner of the room, mocking me for giving up so easily, and reminding me that this sofa is the floor, this is the living room, and that I'm awake. Whew. That was a concerning dream. With my eyes wide open, I keep staring at the wooden instrument in front of me. There is no sound. Complete and utter silence fills the room. How much time has passed, I wonder? My chest is filled with a variety of emotions, heavy yet hard to properly grasp in their entirety. Even after my log has been cleansed, the dreams keep digging up all those memories, ingrained deep within me. So what now? Judging by my log, you're probably still convinced that I only knew Sophie, and I heard about Emilia, but only through her. Honestly, I wonder why I didn't just do so before. And more importantly, I would have been fucked either way if it didn't come up now. After all, Nathan must have told Sophie that I'm here now. At least some guy named Adrian or whatever. And Sophie definitely told everyone on her team that she knew me. It's like she happily told everyone about her relationship with Emilia. I mean, why wouldn't she? She has nothing to hide. So really, this might be the best possible outcome. Guess I can't complain. After lying around for a while longer, I hear a slight creak coming from the sofa. I slowly sit myself up and turn toward the source of the sound, finding exactly who I expected to find. Oh, good morning, princess. Sleep well? It's really kept the poor guy waiting for a while. Yeah, sure. It was a nice nap. Think I needed that. I think we can speculate on specifically what Adrian is so ashamed of. Like, we can't speculate on Emilia's disappearance. We can speculate on the relationship, and based on that dream alone, what Adrian is so ashamed of. Because from the description here, the most beautiful person Sophie has ever met, that's Emilia. And then that beautiful person is using Adrian as a body. That's really concerning implications. Even if whatever happened there was... God, that feels really, really bad. Until we hear any more, we're gonna assume that Sophie and Emilia were together. Adrian was friends with them both. Adrian's self-esteem is, like, close to underflowing. And at some point along the line, there was some sort of... God, the way Adrian described that in the dream, it feels really, really bad. Like, really, really bad. Self-esteem so low, consent comes into question, but there's definitely some kind of cheating between them. That's the thing that he never told Sophie. I mean, they disappeared, and now Adrian is in this horribly screwed up position here. Huh, glad to hear it. So, you should maybe check your log. Been some more stuff going on after you lost consciousness. Don't really need to repeat all that for you, right? Already did. Thanks for the message. Oh, that. No need to thank me. I just hope it cheered you up a bit. I don't know. Yeah, I guess. Not really. Crazy to think that this thing even keeps track of stuff when you're unconscious, huh? Oh, mind if I ask something? Sure. I'm just wondering, how do you feel about your log being gone? I mean, never having had one and all, I can't really imagine what that's like, right? It's more like losing access to a chat log, or like losing part of your memory. What would you say? So then I try not to waste too much time thinking about. Honestly, it still doesn't feel real. I don't want to believe that Noel was so nice and kept a backup of it for us. Not that it matters if I don't even get out of here in the first place, but I don't know. Both, maybe. Like, I could never have imagined living without all those conversations, without the ability to go back to any of them whenever I feel like it. I think it isn't really hitting me because I haven't noticed anything missing just yet. Once I do, once there's something that I want to recall, but can't. That's what I've been afraid of all this time. Though, on the other hand, it would have been an overstatement to say that they ever truly felt like memories. I look up at Oliver, who's still sitting on the sofa, much more comfortably than I am on the floor. Judging by the look in his eyes, he still wants to hear more, but I stay quiet. I mean, they are different, of course. They are just plain text after all, right? Is that what you mean? I guess. I stand up from the floor, avoiding direct eye contact. Definitely said enough unnecessarily embarrassing stuff for today. Whatever, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. So, should we head over to the others? Wait, really? We just woke up and want to go straight back to the person that almost killed you? Aren't you upset about that at all? I didn't expect this kind of reaction from him. Is it really that strange for me to not care? No, not really. Maybe I'm upset that she let go. Oof. Damn, I don't get kids these days. Kids these days in your depression. Same. Either way, they're probably still busy with discussing their little secrets over in the kitchen. Honestly, I think it's best if we just wait here for now, anyway. Guess so. That was the only way I had to swiftly end this conversation. Well, then why don't you tell me about something that doesn't really matter in the meantime? You get the feeling that there's something weighing on your chest still. Well, more than just one thing. No, it feels weird to talk about it. It's difficult to put into words how it feels. Well, it doesn't bother me. Don't bother you so much. I don't have the log. I don't remember most of what you say after we get out of here anyway. Fair enough. Alright then, I doubt he'll back down so easily. I sigh. What a start. For a very long time I have considered the day I got a Neuralink to be my earliest memory. First thing that I could still recall clearly. But that's a lie. I didn't remember it at all. Much less do I remember it now, despite the fact that I could probably still quote most of what was said back then. It's because those first entries in my log weren't memories. Words I still remember now, despite those entries being gone, aren't my memories of that day. They are the memories of me reading through my log, over and over. Whenever I wondered what the first thing that I could recall was, I went back and read through it. Furthest point I could go back to. So I still remember being asked how I felt, whether I had a headache or felt nauseous at all. I should tell my parents to bring me to the center straight away if I noticed anything. I might get unusually tired since my brain still needed to adjust to the implant. I should focus on resting for the day. Those little things, but they're all I can still recall. I don't remember the room I woke up in that day after the surgery. I don't remember the face of the doctor who talked to me at that time. I have even less of an idea whether any assistants were in the room, not saying anything. I don't remember the smells or the sounds, the temperature, textures. I don't remember how I felt that day. And yet thinking about it did make me feel things. Just not the things I felt back then when it happened. So, what I think I'm trying to say is, sometimes I feel like my log never really helped me with remembering things. More like the opposite. Maybe I would remember things much more vividly if I hadn't kept rereading them. I hadn't relied on it as much as I did, never having a reason to bother with remembering any of it myself, with paying attention to my surroundings. After all, I always knew I could go back to read through the recordings anyway. Now my memories of remembering became their own memories, overshadowing the actual events themselves. God, that really is real in a sad way, huh? What did I feel? What did I think? How did that reflect on my face? What kind of impression did I leave? I keep wondering about those things, months and years later. Sorry, I was rambling a bit much. Honestly, I'm not really sure what I was trying to say. No, it's fine. Come on, I appreciate you sharing your thoughts like that, and honestly, kinda understand where you're coming from. And you still plan to get your own Neuralink as soon as you get the chance to, don't you? Damn, you really kept your entries from that as far back as your childhood, huh? Crazy to think. Yeah, of course. Oh, no. Just felt like a tough choice to make, just deleting my own log for no good reason. What if I'll regret it at some point? What if I grow old and want to look back on what I've been through in my youth, learn to find pages upon pages of deleted entries? I don't know, something like that. Well then, I guess now that I'm here, keeping them this entire time, never meant a thing, huh? They're gone. All of them. So wait, you make it sound like you never deleted anything at all? Just once. Never. Oh, that very direct lie. Damn. Is deleting those entries make me remember them more or less vividly? Did I keep my promise? Taking a look at this timer, Oliver gets up from the sofa. Damn. It was a good talk and all, but looks like I gotta head back to my team soon. Want to come see me off? Not so much time has passed, huh? Despite that, Valerie and Evelyn still haven't returned. Do you not want to say goodbye to the others? They'll live. Not like I have anything left to say. Right. I don't either. I said more than enough. Alright, if you say so, then let's go. I leave the living room, stopping in front of the still locked exit. Oliver turns toward me. Now then, are you ready to join back up with the girls once I'm gone? Tell them what you know and all that? Sure. What I know, huh? Glad to hear it. And you, what will you tell your team once you get back? Good question. Been wondering about this for a while. Is the QT really his team? Really is kind of a special case, and Nathan is closer to our opponent. Guess I'll keep quiet for now. Not that I know any of the details yet anyway. Yeah. The door slides open behind him and he spins around. Well, that's my cue. Good luck and try not to get strangled again. Yeah. Thanks, I guess. The door closes once more. This time, it's just me. Can't just stand around and wait until someone else speaks up or takes action. And yet I do just that. Standing around, awkwardly. Awkwardly? Can I even stand around awkwardly all by myself? Or does the feeling described as awkwardness necessitate the presence of another person, potentially judging the way I act? Maybe the hypothetical idea of an observer's device is, I don't know, I feel awkward. As long as these walls surround me, as long as each and every word I say will go straight to null, I will never feel unseen. And so I begin to move toward the kitchen, keeping up a steady pace of around 2 steps per minute. Oliver was right, wasn't he? The fact that I barely care about what happened with Valerie is strange, right? I didn't even think about it as relevant. I would have walked right back in there as if nothing had ever happened. Now that he brought it up, I can't do that. The kitchen door, but instead of laying my hand on its handle, I simply turn around and start pacing back and forth across the room. 1,000 thoughts fill my head, most of them potential scenarios that could play out once I eventually enter the kitchen, how I should act, what I should say, what they might say in turn. The small fraction of my brain that isn't occupied by these unnecessary irrational concerns continues to worry about the bigger picture instead. How should I proceed from now on? How should I explain the fact that I didn't mention knowing Sophie? I didn't mention that she told me about Emilia. That's what my story is going to be, after all. I need to find a proper excuse for why I might have recently wanted to keep what I know under wraps. One that they might actually end up buying. One that might sound irrational. That might make me look like the absolute asshole that I am. But that's fine. As long as they believe me when I tell them that, tell them that. That's all. This is the entire truth, that I have nothing else to hide. It's gonna be just fine. Go back to my log, check everything I have said up to this point, over and over again, to make sure that nothing I have said could contradict my explanation. Everything fits nicely into a plausible narrative with consistent motives for my actions. I got this. Stand for the door and slap myself in the face a couple of times. I'm ready. I can do this. Take a deep breath, knock, and after mere seconds, the door swings open and Evelyn's standing right next to it. Ah, Adrian. I'm glad to see you're all right. I glance past her, toward Valerie, sitting in the back of the room, not even looking at me. Makes me feel like I'd be better off not looking at her either. Yeah, me too. Me too? What does that even mean? I'm also glad to see me all right. Who'd say that? Also glad to see the two of you all right? Well, sure, but why would they be? Why wouldn't they be? Is Valerie even all right? Like, emotionally? Was she ever? God, 10 seconds in and I already fucked up. God, you're so real for that. I have been here and it sucks. Cautious steps I enter the kitchen sideways. In a way that allows Evelyn to shut the door, also keeping me as close to the wall as possible. Before she does so, however, she takes a peek inside the living room. Oh, has Oliver already left? Right. Yeah. Could have at least said something. Turn toward her, finding her eyes still fixated on the wall. Words feel just as sharp as before, but her expression makes this shift in her demeanor more than obvious. Is this the result of their conversation, or does she feel sorry from earlier? Either way, I doubt she'd want to admit it. What is truthfully wanted to discuss matters in private. He must not have seen any reason to disturb us. I also told him that he wasn't the one I was worried about. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Just wanted to make sure he keeps his mouth shut about what we told him. At least for now. Should I reply? Would she even want to hear what I have to say? Would it help or make things worse? Finally, eye contact. Fuck, eye contact! He said he'd keep quiet. He did, huh? Oh well, guess I couldn't have done much then. Now it's up to whether he's a man of his word. You still don't trust him? No clue. Do I? I wonder. Evelyn sighs, pulling back a chair. Anyway, why don't you take a seat for now? She sits down next to Valerie. I'm fine. Lean against the wall. I don't know why I decided to decline her offer, but it's too late to just change my mind now. Alright, I see. Then, just get to it already. What do you know? Why don't you tell us you knew about Emilia? Why I knew about her? Judging by these words, they really conclude that I probably didn't know her personally. This might be easier than expected. Alright, now, just don't stumble over your own explanation, alright? Yeah, I'm sorry. I know this doesn't mean much, but it's not like I had planned to keep it to myself from the beginning. When Oliver first told us about her being here, described what she would look like, how she disappeared, I couldn't believe it. I tried to convince myself that it was some kind of coincidence. Had this been all, I would have still come forward about it. As soon as I had calmed down and thought everything through. But then, beat me to it. Told us you knew Emilia as well. So what? I could maybe have tried to believe that me being here was a coincidence. Multiple people in our group alone knowing who Emilia was? And almost a plan for us in particular to be here. If that was the case, I assume more people connected to her had to show up in the opposing team. Who's a more likely candidate for that than her own girlfriend? So you really do know Sophie, huh? Yeah, you were right. Guess it would have come out sooner or later anyway, but I don't know. You two are friends? I mean, I don't know. Are we? What would she reply? Something like that. Went to the same school and talked a bit during her last year. Didn't really keep in touch afterwards until... At some point, she stopped by my uni. It'd be by chance and asked whether I'd seen Emilia. I hadn't. That was shortly after she went missing. So you went to the same university as Emilia, then? Right. Guess a certain someone already knew that much. Over at Valerie, she simply sighs. Anyway, since the day we have occasionally met up to... It's that day we occasionally met up to grab a drink and stuff. We talked about Emilia a lot. Especially when she was drunk. Ah, I see. So that's how it is. I think I understand how the three of you are connected now. Then is it fair to assume that you accompanied her when she visited the Neuralink Center? I guess so. Not that I remember. I just still don't have a clue how any of that came to be, but it's the only thing that still makes sense. Evelyn nods, slowly connecting the dots in her head, except for one. I apologize, but I fear this still doesn't answer the original question. Why did you keep this hidden up until now? I can't figure out what kind of reason you might have had for doing so. Why, huh? Got this. I got through this. I thought this through, and yet... Why? In truth, there seem to be two distinct reasons, one more absurd than the other. They don't need to know that. One, I will keep to myself. The other, I didn't want... I have no idea how to phrase this, without making it sound like I'm the worst, most self-centered person ever. Maybe I am. I didn't want Sophie to die. Neither of them says anything in response. I had a feeling from the very start that the winning team would be allowed to leave this place alive. I could lie. Back then, I was only motivated by my fear of Sophie ever finding out. Afraid of anything I share about my relationship with Emilia reaching her. They don't need to know that. Nobody ever will. Only makes sense, right? Someone who's ready to lock us up against our will wouldn't hesitate when it came to murder, would he? Of course I want to leave. Of course I want to survive. Like the mentally stable person that I am. That meant making the opposing team lose, outright killing them. I'm not sure if I can just submit to that. So what you were saying is you would have been okay with being responsible for our deaths. Is that right? I can't deny that. This should have been the part where she snaps, jumping up while hurling insults and accusations at me. Instead, she simply turns away. If anything, I'd of course prefer if all of us could make it out of here, but if I had to choose between protecting a couple of people I just met and someone I'd known for years, then is it a natural thing to pick those that are important to you? Neither of them looks entirely convinced, though they don't have any rebuttals either. Still, how can I... And this isn't just about me either. It absolutely is. Evelyn, don't you have similar feelings? Isn't your sister on the other team? That is true. I have tried not to think about that fact. I am not saying you need to come to the same conclusion that I have, but can you at least understand how I feel? I'm sorry, but I cannot. I did not expect that response. Is it really just me? Am I the mentally unwell one here? Yes! No matter how much I love her, that doesn't mean I should sacrifice my own life for her sake. Especially since the self-depressy and the desire for the self game over, I suppose. It reads as stemming from years of self-esteem in the pits. For starters, which is possibly what spiraled into a cheating relationship with Emilia. And that protecting that lie in and of itself is what spiraled. Is what is now prompting this continual spiral into self-ending. Which would also take down Evelyn and Valerie. There's no point in living like that. No, we should both work towards making it out of here to the best of our ability. Whoever manages to win will have to live her life for the both of us. That's certainly a much more optimistic way to view this dilemma. Isn't it the same for you? Do you really think that Sophie would want you to die for her? I just don't think our lives have equal value. Say that! I can't live life for the both of us. I get what you mean, but it's not like I'd be the only one to suffer from losing Sophie. Emilia also remembered Sophie, after all. Might still be the only one she remembered. At least she's the most important person in Emilia's life. Is it right to take that from her? Look over at Valerie. Especially for you, who had some sort of connection to Emilia herself. What are you going to say once you make it out of here? I'm not sure if I... I'm so glad to see you again. Sorry for killing your girlfriend in the process. Like she wouldn't understand. Like it's my fault we're here. Of course she's right. Couldn't care less if you think I sound selfish, but I just want to survive. That means the other team has to die? Oh well, sucks to be them. Stop trying to make me feel responsible for any of this. You weren't selfish at all. I can't say I'm the more this conversation is going on, the more I'm strongly opposing this tactic. The guilt trip tactic. I feel like you might make a more effective point if you just say that thought that went through your head. I don't think our lives have equal value. I can't live for her. My life is worthless because I feel like my life is worthless in comparison to hers. I'm not selfish at all. It's absolutely natural to feel this way. I think I'm the most selfish out of all of us. Still, if she wants to get out of here so badly, then why did you lie to us? Why did you pretend you only knew Emilia from back at the hospital? She knew that I would ask this question eventually. It was only a matter of time. Taking a deep breath, she straightens her posture as if to mentally prepare for what's ahead. Yeah, so this is what we've already discussed while you were out. She pauses, probably debating whether she should apologize or continue. She continues. Shocking. I get to that and repeat what I already told Evelyn. At least the relevant stuff. Went on a couple of necessary tangents last time. Oh? For that, though, I was just wondering, how did you know? I already know what tipped her off. She told Oliver it was recorded on my log. It's only fair to tell her as well. That's right, in the beginning, back when Oliver first told us about Emilia, he had quite the reaction to that reveal. We were absolutely sure about who that Emilia was. What did he tell us, though? Sure, her name, that a guy in a lab was working for one of her parents. Guess you could deduce that he was working for Neuralink, just like Emilia's father. That's all you should have known. It's far from enough to be as sure about knowing her as you were, react the way you did. What else did Oliver tell us? One, that she disappeared roughly 2 years ago. Guess I don't need to explain why you couldn't have known that. What remains would have been the description of her appearance. Green eyes, long, wavy blonde hair. That. See. Yeah, I didn't even think about that at all. You're right. If I only ever talked to her in the hospital. There would have been no way for me to connect that description to her. She nods. Meanwhile, Evelyn looks back and forth between the two of us, understandably confused. Oh yeah, Evelyn, I guess I should explain what I meant. About her appearance and all that. Simple. Description totally fits all the photos I've seen of her. I know from Sophie that blonde wasn't actually her natural hair color. But she only ever started dyeing her hair after graduating from school. Shortly before her first encounter with Sophie. Oh, she never saw her the way I did. Yeah, back when she came to visit me, she still had brown hair. Ah, I see. Two of you really pay attention to the smallest of details. I can't deny that. Only possible thanks to my log. All that overanalyzing might have been good for something after all. If it only would help us figuring out the truth. To be fair, all of this did manage to bring us much closer toward working together than I could have ever seen coming. And with that, arguably, closer to the truth. Is that a good thing? The more I think about it, the less I hate the idea of it. With that out of the way, Valerie, would you like to tell Adrian about some of the things you shared with me earlier? Or it's the plan, after all. Ooh, it takes a moment to arrange her thoughts before diving straight into the second half of her extensive backstory. We're going to save and call it a video here. I have theories, but don't have enough evidence to expound on any of them, so we're just going to let it happen next video. If you have theories, put them in the comments section below, and we'll see you next time. Until then.